Hey, Glenn Frey, request anything special?
Sure.
Glenn Frey, be on the horn here in just a minute or two. He's got a new record out, solo record. The Eagles have not done anything in the way of solo stuff for quite a while. You know, Don Henley always seems to have something every 3 or 4 years. Glenn's got 5 solo records. This is his 6th. First one of this nature, though. This one is all cover songs, and we're talking love songs from the 40s. I mean, the stuff his parents used to play when he was a kid and stuff they grew up on. And sort of sort of in the same vein of what McCartney did with his standards and Rod Stewart with his standards. A lot of these guys seem to be going in that direction. But anyway, Glenn's real excited about this, and of course from Royal Oak too, from Don Darrow. Great guy. We've had a lot of fun with him over the years. In fact, we got to remind him about Joe and Glenn. Remember?
Definitely. He rented that house on Pine Lake for a while. Had that big party summer.
Remember they came in studio when they came in on the Learjet, and I think Riff had helped to make some arrangements for them. So in exchange, Joe and Glenn came in to do the morning show with us for a couple hours, and those guys were they were feeling no pain prior to their show together.
Wow, did Joe reek of whiskey?
Joe stunk. Yeah. He did.
Yeah, they sure did. They're up there circling that Learjet. I think there was some funny thing. I think Joe said it was something like they told the pilot, "Don't land till we finish this whiskey." It was fantastic. God,
Joe,
did they reek.
Oh, my God. I remember Joe. All I remember is Joe had this thing he did with Whole Lotta Love where during the break in there, that middle crazy part, he had done this on radio before because he used to do regular radio gigs filling in for people.
Oh,
he would grab like every sound effect you had, in the studio and line them all up. And I just remember that Joe would play the sound effect, and then he wouldn't wait for him to re-cue. He'd just stop him and pull him out of the machine and play the next one. So after he left, there were like 100 carts that had to be re-cued. I mean, he just left the biggest mess.
Yeah, back in the days of those old 8-track style carts, they were all over the place. I forgot about that.
Yeah, carts were, now that I think about it, what a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't fast forward them either. You couldn't fast cue them.
Yeah.
So if you had a 10-second actuality on like a 2.5 minute cart, it'd be over 2 minutes before you could hear it again. It's a rainy Monday at the Riff. But, let's see. Well, it's going to stay rainy, actually, with a high of only 66 today. Tonight, numerous showers and thunderstorms, down to 54. And then tomorrow, 71 for the high. It'll be mostly cloudy. Wednesday, chance of light showers and a high of 63. And then is it ever going to get nice this week? Well, they say Thursday, sunny and a high of 61. It's a little on the cool side. Friday, sunny and 67. And the weekend, they're talking showers all weekend next weekend.
On.
God almighty. Right now it's 54 degrees at the Riff. Hey, Glenn.
Hey.
How's it going, man?
Who's this?
It's Drew and Mike.
Hey, Drew. How are you?
Real good.
Mike. Hello.
Good to talk to you, Glenn. We talk frequently about when you and Joe came in and spent the morning with us. What a ball that was.
Oh, my God.
For us, anyway.
But yeah, it was, sort of in a train wreck sort of way. That was a lot of fun.
It was great. I still remember you guys were talking about coming in on a Learjet and how you were, I believe you said you continued to circle for a while so you could finish that bottle of whiskey, I think.
Oh,
yeah, it was a good train wreck.
That was last century, man.
It was so much fun, though. Joe was, he played that tune for us, on the
that
the
Whole
keyboards.
Lot of Love, yeah. Oh, yeah, he played The Way I Am. Waylon Jennings write that, maybe? I want to say.
He had the NASA hat on, and, you guys are both great. I mean, it was so cool.
Joe's sober, but he's still that guy.
Oh, is he? That's good.
He is still, just as mischievous, just as he's a big kid is what he is.
Yeah. He is a big kid, and I really got that feeling too because he pulled me aside at one point and said, "Hey, I know Glenn's from around here, and I really want him to look good today. So, what can we do to make Glenn look good?" And I'm thinking, "Jeez, I don't know, Joe. I don't know but he did seem like a big kid. He had a lot of fun too.
Oh God!
I went to the show. I liked the show. You two guys were great together.
We still play a few private corporate type shows, Joe and I, we play 4 or 5 a year. I think we're actually doing one for Ford Motor Company out here in Los Angeles. Ford has money for tickets to start throwing parties again.
I was going to say, that's where the real money is, isn't it?
Hey, well, it's nice to be able to do those things. And like I said, Joe and I have a good time when we play together.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That's a little different. Well, this is a real departure. Glenn Frey After Hours. You have really done something that is so out of your norm, and it sounds like you're having a great time doing it. I mean, from everything I read, this is something you've wanted to do for a long time.
I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, which, is a big music town even before Motown, back in the big band days. And, one of my earliest memories is, sitting in the kitchen at my grandmother's house, and my mother was doing ironing, and she's singing along on the radio to the Andrews Sisters. And, I grew up with this kind of music. My mother loved big band music and even sat in and sang at a couple clubs when she was younger. I have 2 ends in my name because of Glenn Miller, because my mother loved Glenn.
Yeah, my parents loved Glenn Miller also.
And, I sort of got the feeling that I wanted to do this record and finish it while my folks were still around. And, fortunately for me, my mom and dad, they're, sweet as a sweet roll and tough as a $2 steak. They're still, hanging in there out in Palm Springs. My dad's 91. I think my mom's 87. And I so wanted to make this album and sort of present it to them, as an appreciation. And it gave me an opportunity to sing all these songs that I've loved for so long. And kind of put them out there with a little bit of a different, a different look to it because it's me singing.
How did they like it when you presented this to them?
Oh, they love everything I do.
Of course,
so, that was for sure. But you could tell that it was particularly moving. And I have an aunt back in Pennsylvania who's like 89 or something, and they love this record. But I think this record's for everybody, and it really is more about the songs than it is about me as an artist. I'm just trying to put this out there. I figure of the legions of Eagles fans out there, there's somebody's going to see this CD and go, "Hey, well, I wonder what this is like," and they're going to buy it, and then they're going to go, "Oh my God, I didn't know he could sing like that. Oh, I like that song. Hey."
Well, guys in bands as successful as the Eagles, most of the individual members, it's so hard to have a hit, it seems like, on the side. But you and Don have both been successful as solo artists. In fact, this is your 6th solo record.
Yeah, it's all relative,
And Joe too.
For this record, that I learned so much about myself as an artist, and I learned so much about this music, and we brought in great musicians to play, and we had a terrific arranger, Alan Broadbent, who's a jazz legend. We brought all these people, and so, for me, the making of the record was the gift. The reward was the journey, and now everything else is sort of gravy for me. And the one thing I've found though is, as I introduce this record to people, everybody is first of all a little bit surprised. Didn't know you could sing like that.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is I think they really enjoy the texture of this record. It's a very intimate record. It's 13 love songs in Route 66.
Yeah, I love the Route 66. I love that. Matter of fact, how did you decide on which tunes to select?
Well, like I said, I play this music all the time. I know this music, and back in about 10 years ago, I used to play in the AT&T Pebble Beach Golf Tournament up in Northern California.
Yeah.
And Clint Eastwood is the head potentate of that event, and of course Clint is a real jazz aficionado, and if you ever watch any of his movies, the music is always good.
It is.
And so, they would say they'd have on Wednesday night they had this volunteer party, and 2,000 people who work at the golf courses during the tournament, they throw a little party for them, and the comedians come in and do 10 minutes of jokes, and you get a note from Clint about 2 weeks before. It says, "Please come and sing a couple songs for us at the volunteer party." And of course, nobody says no to Clint.
Right.
But the thing was, it would say, please sing 2 songs. One that's that's a familiar hit of yours, and something from the 40s. and the first time that I read that, I kind of went, oh my God! And then at that time he had the Jack Shelton Orchestra, and it's a very, very sophisticated group. So I started singing Tony Bennett songs.
Really?
At the golf tournament, I sang, one year I sang I Left My Heart in San Francisco, one year I sang The Good Life, one year I sang I Want to Be Around. And at another dinner party on a Friday night, a smaller event, Michael Bolton came up to me and says, Glenn, I meant to tell you, the other night, you killed it. He said, you really sound good singing that material. Have you ever thought about making a record?
Wow, how cool.
First I said, yeah, that's what I said. I said, well, thanks, man. I really appreciate, coming from you especially, I really appreciate that. And I said, yeah, I've been thinking about making a record. He said, well, you should.
Well,
I went down, so then the golf tournament ends, and it's March, and I go in the studio with my buddies, and I said, let's make some demos real quick. Let's just see if this is worth a darn. Okay, let's find out right away. Boom, 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 boom. So we cut 3 songs in 2 days, just rough overdubs, rough vocals, just to kind of see what it might sound like. And damn, it sounded pretty darn good, and my guys would tell me if it didn't sound good, and they said, yeah, this is good, Glenn. Maybe we should do some more. I said, yeah, let's do some more. So we got serious, and we started cutting these songs for real, and we started, in between going out with the Eagles for 3 weeks here, and then we come back to the studio and then home for 3 weeks, and we go and work on this record. And so over the course of the last 2 years, not unlike a 500-piece jigsaw puzzle, we kind of put this thing together.
God, it's amazing how busy the Eagles are. It's like, you guys, it seems like you're busier than almost ever.
We have to keep a gauge on that. The Eagles is the mothership, and, we all try to, give a little bit of time to the Eagles every year, some years more than others. This is kind of a quiet year for us. I have a solo record coming out. Joe's got a solo record coming out. Don's working on a solo record. We have a 2-DVD History of the Eagles project that we're trying to get ready for Christmas.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. I was wondering when that's targeted for. That sounds like good stuff.
Yeah, and we hired Academy Award-winning documentary filmmaker Alex Gibney, who won the Academy Award for Taxi to the Dark Side about Guantanamo. Also was Academy Award nominee. He did Smartest Guys in the Room, the Enron documentary.
Oh, that's really good. Really good.
The guy's just a brilliant storyteller. And compelling. His work is very, draws you in. So he's been working on this with us, and so that's a project that
there have been so many rock band documentaries done in the last 10 years or so, and I love watching them. Tom Petty's got one that lasts about 4 hours long, and I couldn't turn it off. It was so damn good.
Oh, I'd like to see that one because I like that band and I like him. I think he's a really good songwriter.
Oh.
And in the case of the Eagles, we've never done a there is none. We didn't do it for Biography or VH1 or anything else. But now we feel like we got a story to tell, and I think it'll be interesting. And also, people don't really know a lot about the Eagles.
Glenn,
they know about our music. And then the rest is sort of rumor and innuendo. Oh, they fight a lot. Oh, all that kind of stuff. And I think it'll be. We're finally going to sort of. We used to leave the door open just a crack and give people sort of a peek of what we were about. But we're going to open the door a little bit wider here and let people see a little more of what was going on and what we were thinking when we did all this.
I remember getting an Eagles album in maybe 74, 75 or something, and there weren't even pictures of you guys on it. I was like, what is this? And I read years later that you guys really didn't want pictures of yourselves on that particular record for some reason. And
it's a good way to create a mystique.
Oh, it definitely works.
I think one of the greatest allies that an artist can ever have is the imagination of his audience. And, why is Bob Dylan so fascinating? Because we don't know anything about him.
Nobody knows Bob Dylan. No, it's so true.
I think that's true. I think especially today, you can have a hit record and have everybody know everything about you all in 6 months.
Right. And then what's left?
Then nobody's rooting for you. There's no interest anymore because they know everything. So we've always sort of been a little bit protective of that, and it's actually turned out to be a really smart thing we did.
Now, I would love if you put out a book, for example, Glenn. I would love to read your book about the Eagles, because a lot of people too, not just the documentaries. The Tom Petty one, by the way, is called "Running Down a Dream." But so many of the other guys have written bios about the bands and whatnot, and they're so readable. They're so much fun to read, and I mean, as you're laying that thing down, there's so many people who are going to pick that thing up. The Motley Crue one is fantastic. The Aerosmith one is good. Crosby's got a great one. Sort of the oral histories. There's an oral history of grunge that just came out that's really damn good. And I'd love to. An oral history of the Eagles would be fantastic too.
Well, we haven't, we're just now entering the sort of the phase where rock and roll, where there are really senior rock and roll stars. And no, it's true.
No, it is true. You're right.
So, I mean, when this kind of music started out in the 50s and stuff, it was a fad. It was a teen thing. It was, it came and went, but now there's history. And I think it's good that we, take a look at history, and there's a lot to be learned from, watching things like the Tom Petty one. How about the George Harrison documentary? How good was that?
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I love George Harrison, too, so it made it real easy. And God, and look at that.
So, guys, I can't wait. I hope I get to come to Detroit and see you guys on tour. I know I'm going to play some shows on the East Coast at the beginning of May, including Town Hall in New York with the NYU Concert Orchestra, so I'll be able to perform some of these songs live, with 20-piece orchestra.
Yeah, you got those jazz licks going down, the brushwork, I remember those days talking about Glenn Miller Orchestra and Gene Krupa and the old brushes on the drums, back when I was trying to learn how to drum back then. I remember all that drumming style that you don't see so much of. You don't see it at all, as a matter of fact, today.
Well, these are great.
Cool.
These are great songs. These are just, the songs are. It's really about them. It's really not about me. But what was nice was I was able to make records of these with the audio fidelity that we have now. Mm-hmm. So it's not like get the bass player and the drummer around a microphone and that's the rhythm section. You're able to sort of, clarify. Not that those records aren't charming, and they are, but there's something nice about being able to, use today's technology as we, recorded these songs.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Listening to Glenn talk about this, I can just tell you were so excited about this record. And I heard McCartney talking about his standards, and he obviously was so excited about it. It's like, God, these guys write their own songs, and they don't sound as excited about them as they do about these songs, obviously, that you guys grew up with and feel very close to. And I should say,
when you're a songwriter, I think it gives you a unique appreciation for how really good these songs are.
Right. Ones that you're in love with.
You know what I mean? And the chord changes and stuff are so rich and so educated. I mean, I like songs with 3 chords too, but it's a different style. And this record is like, I made it so that I could have something to play around my house or play if I'm on a car trip, a long drive with my wife, rainy day, a little dinner party. I mean, this After Hours is like the perfect record for all of that stuff.
By the way, Glenn Frey.
We should probably wrap it, guys.
Yeah, GlennFreyAfterHours.com. You can pick it up in stores May the 8th, but why not get it now? Or go to Amazon.com and pick up Glenn Frey After Hours. And Glenn, it sounds like it's a little hint there. I think you got to move on.
Hey, guys, listen, I could talk all day. I can't wait to get back to the city. Hopefully I can play a show in Detroit and show some of these songs, especially the Dinah Washington stuff, because I love her, and she's a Detroit girl.
Oh, man, yeah, it'll do great here. I wish you'd come in studio. We could spend a couple hours talking.
If I come to town, I'll come see you.
Thanks, Glenn.
Cool, all man.
Right,
nice talking to you.
Mike. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
See you, Glenn.
God, it's interesting. 62 years old, I guess, I don't know, what do you do when you're 62 and you're in a rock band and, nobody's buying new records by bands in their 60s at the moment. Yeah. It doesn't seem. I don't know. I guess the Stones sell a few.
Yeah.
U2 still sells some records. But, why not make some covers that you really like, some music that you love, and try and introduce a new audience to it?
Well, if you can still do it, if you got the energy to do it, the stamina,
Oh, he's got
wherewithal, and
Glenn
they
Frey's
do.
in good shape. He's got a good voice.
Yeah.
He sounds really good on this, I have to say.
And all these guys, I mean, look how good Seeger sounds this time around. I mean, he's in great voice. I mean, I don't have any problem with how the Stones sound. I think it's great seeing these guys. I'm amazed. They're all in shape. They're all out there conditioning themselves before these tours and giving everything they've got for hours on end. You know, you have Bruce Springsteen. Look at that dude. I mean, they're out there, man, full throttle.
It's funny to me how many of them. Well, it's virtually all of them. They're not screwing off anymore. They're not doing stupid things. They're not taking drugs.
Yeah,
they're all so together. And, you know, I don't know what is going on there. If it's just that they just did so much in the way of drugs and drinking and screwing off that they're just done with it, or just bored of it or something. But even Joe Walsh doesn't drink anymore. I mean,
I don't think I think if they started all that up again, I think it would probably be their undoing. They would just end up kind of going to their grave with the bottle. You know?
I guess.
I don't think there's enough in them to make another recovery, another endless cycle through rehab, and certainly not be able to work their way into a tour and maintain the stamina of city to city when they're in heavy drug abuse mode at that age.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
It's got to be one or the other, either the music or the drugs, I'm afraid, when you get into your 60s. That's what I'm thinking.
I was reading Keith Richards was talking about that when 78, when he got in trouble in Toronto, and that was really kind of the end. He had to give it up. He was only, he was under 40 years old. Yeah. So it was just that it was such a hassle.
Yeah.
To travel the world and have a habit like that, it's just too big a pain in the end. Where are you going to get it? I mean, whenever you get there, it's like, I got to find heroin. What do I do?
Yeah.
And you got to put all these other people in jeopardy, and it's just, plus he wasn't holding his own in the band at all.
God.
And so, now he drinks a little Jack Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny though. Keith will not be the guy that doesn't drink or smoke or anything like that. I suspect he'll always need a couple pops.
Yeah. I don't picture him ever being free of all of that.
Nope. But, thankfully, boy, if he wasn't still in that junk, that was bad, man.
Yeah.
That's a mess.
Yeah, that is a mess.
And I guess it absolutely wipes out Ron Wood. When he was doing it, he was a disaster. And I mean, Keith used to get pissed off at Ron Wood. Here he's doing the same thing. And he used to raise hell with him.
I know. I keep laughing at that remark. Who was it? Was it Ron that made it was either Ron said it or Keith said it about the other one, where I think it was Ron, where he said Keith was asking for his help through the mess, and he's like, "You expect me to help you? I'm all effed up on the same crap.
Oh, yeah.
I can't help you. I can't help myself." They were both on the ship going down, brother.
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
Well,
Yeah.
Glenn Frey, After Hours, in stores May the 8th. These are songs from the 40s. This is not an Eagles album.
Oh, no. Far
It
from
doesn't
it.
sound like an Eagles album, although when he tours...
No.
Behind it sounds to me like he's going to play some Eagles tunes, then he's going to roll out After Hours, play 7 or 8 songs from there, and then wrap it up with some familiar, hot Eagles tunes of his. Because you got to do that. You got to play some of your best stuff. And again, GlennFreyAfterHours.com to pick up the record now, or Amazon.com to pre-order, or you can pick it up in the stores May the 8th. And great to talk to Glenn Frey on the riff. Walsh wasn't a bad addition to the Eagles.
He was a hard-headed man. He was brutally handsome.
He's just reading about Hotel California, which I think was was it released on this day? Today's May the 7th. There's something about Hotel California. The Eagles went to number 1 in the U.S. singles charts with Hotel California, May the 7th, 1977.
77.
Yep. 35 years ago today.
Wow. Lucky 7. May 7. 77.